Alright, so this is going to be a bit of a chilled stream. I don't know how long it's going to be. We're going to try the lost levels. There's 3 of them, and I don't know how long they are, so depending on how long these are will depend on how long this stream will be. I have no idea. Yeah, sure, let's we're here to kind of dive in, and because it's my first experience, it's my first time seeing these as well, so I'm curious to learn more about it.
You're about to play an unfinished level from The Last of Us Part 2. The reason we added this section is there are a few sequences, and we picked the 3 of the best ones, that we cut from the game. You know, often we build a game that's much bigger than what ends up being the final product.
But
they were months away from being finished, but we wanted to give you an insight of what it's like when we built the game, because often we have this whole thing constructed and it doesn't have final art or audio or dialogue. And here you get to see the building blocks of what it's like when we first string a bunch of these levels together. This is the intro to the first deleted level, and this one is the roughest of the 3. We wanted to show more of how Jackson operates. So this is the festival where Ellie ultimately kisses Dina. This sequence would have come very late in the game as a flashback sequence while you're in the farm with Dina. And we wanted to show what is the rest of Jackson doing, and wanted to put on the stick, make it interactive. So you could see when you're outside, there are all these almost like carnival games that you can play. You could mix drinks, you could play with these kids that are playing a sort of clicker Marco Polo, sit down and listen to conversations. And all the different interactions were first or second pass, very, very early passes. The building blocks are there, but nothing is final. And ultimately, while we were very excited by this sequence, it's pretty fun and lighthearted. It just slowed things too much as we're barreling towards the end of the story at this point. So again, reminder, rough, missing audio, missing animation, missing gameplay tweaks, missing dialogue, but pretty representative of what it would have been. So enjoy.
So this would have been towards the end of the game. This would have been... This would have been after the sequence at the party. It's interesting, to be honest, to get a bit of an insight. Obviously there's no dialogue, they've got the subtitles, I'm assuming they had the script. It's interesting to get a bit of an insight to behind the scenes of these types of games and how it works from a development point of view. Let's see what this is.
Originally, this level was going to transition us to farm. We would go all the way through to the dance, where Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. Then we would play through farm, and when Ellie plays the guitar at night, she would remember the Seth incident. So, the opening for this was a little tricky. We needed it to match at least a little what you might expect emotionally coming from prior beats, because we were already purposefully disorienting you in time and space. Remember, you just came from this huge fight.
Do I have
to
to
jump
stand
straight
here,
into it
or?
would have been a little too jarring. After some back and forth, we rooted it in Ellie's nerves, calling back to her hands shaking in the theater. But this time, for a much more innocuous reason we'll find out later. She's nervous because she has a crush on Dina, who is the only reason why she's here at the dance.
I don't know if I have to stand there for those. Next one I'm going to see if I can move. But that one I didn't want to kind of reset it. I mean, I don't know why I'm looking for collectibles, because I know that there isn't any, it's just habit. But yeah, people were complaining that there's too many flashbacks in the current game. This would have meant that there was even more.
Something we really wanted to do was highlight the way their lives had turned upside down since she went down this path. We had this idea of recontextualizing all of our usual gameplay mechanics that were designed for really violent ends. The workbench, door bashes, throwable weapons, and even the infected, which is my personal favorite. Peppered throughout the level are moments of levity or shared history, all the while seeing how happy and mundane they all were before her huge revenge odyssey.
We get to see a little bit more of Jackson here that I don't think we've ever seen before. Jackson's big. Like when you look at it, even if you look at the beginning of the game, when obviously Abby and Owen are looking and you can see Jackson, it's big. Where do I start?
It is not a festival without one of these throwing games. This one, of course, uses our throwable system where you're often chucking explosive things or stunning things, but for a more wholesome purpose, although some people take this game really seriously. A fun aspect of this is if you did well, you could win a toy here. Ellie would place it in her pocket.
Oh, I want the
If you
toy.
had done this, you'd find the toy with JJ, the baby, later back at the farm. When we cut this, the toy made it through anyway because it was so cute.
Ollie, I guess.
It is the same one you see on the tractor at the farm.
Yeah, Ollie.
Ollie the elephant.
Yeah, I remember. Can I win it then? Or is that included? Is Ollie up there? Let's see him. I want to win Ollie. No dialogue, we just do it, okay. Get this. Give me that elephant. Wait, nice. I did it, did I? What do you mean nice try? Is it because I didn't knock those two over there? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. They got the same music as that was in the dance sequence. Which way do I go? I don't know if there's any. Yeah, this would have slowed the pace down a lot.
This is one of my favorite sections because I think
Oh, wait,
that it
6.
achieves
Wait,
both
wait,
the
wait,
slice
wait,
of life
wait.
aspect
I
of
wanna do it in
Jackson,
order. I wanna
while
do it in
also
order.
being
What
a
was that?
It is not a festival
3.
without one of these
Is this 4?
throwing games. The makeup artist is pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the town. Hallie, our writer, mentioned that in her mind, an ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar. So we figured this might be the only time you get to see that.
Cat,
We wanted
right?
to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
I don't know if that's canon, because yeah, she's in the show, and they say that. Yeah. There's no dialogue. But I don't know if that's canon in the game, since they cut it out. How's the tattoo doing? It's fine, does the job. We should touch it up, maybe I can add something else. I'm just going to read it because obviously there's no actual dialogue there. So I guess I'm supposed to go this way. Is that a pig? It's interesting, I don't know. Part of me wishes that they didn't cut this stuff out, but then at the same time, yeah, if it would affect the pacing of the game, which is I think the reason why they said that they...
We use our workbench
Did
a
it.
lot to make a lot of things that kill and maim and hurt people. Here, we had the silly idea of using the same feel, harkening back to the same animations, using the exact same UI to instead fix a drink. Like the workbench, you could pick your base, and then you could add something to it. And at the time, we had some different reactions from Ellie based on how strong you chose to make the drink. Something we wanted to prototype though, before it got cut, was picking up some ingredients around to add, like a lime or maybe a bottle of someone's favorite whiskey or salt, like you were earning upgrades. We also toyed with having Ellie carry around the drink you made and occasionally sip it, psyching herself up to go talk to Dina inside because she's nervous. It got too noodly though, because she would need to keep placing it somewhere before she did anything, so it would have ended up more trouble than it was worth.
I like the idea, but I just think it's a bit too arcadey. I don't know if that's the right word to use. Like gimmicky. I don't know. That's actually pretty good. Wait, so is this before the party or after? I thought they said after, but I could be wrong. Why is everyone looking at me? Oh, can I have a go? Let me have a go. Step aside, people. Where did that come from? Don't hit the kid in the head, that's dangerous. What, don't hit the kid in the head? That was dangerous. And that's how it's done. Wait, what was the number for that one? 5, right? I think that was 5. I think this one's 6 over here.
This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice of life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really, really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed up little clicker impression, and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try and follow you a little before turning back.
Is that what
Since
he's
clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of
He's
messed
got the
up
same
tag,
animation
Ellie
and
must close
everything.
her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. They still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective.
Yeah.
For me,
I
it's
agree.
character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails.
Yeah, I think it would have been good to keep Jackson. I don't like that, and look at that animation. I think it's a shame that they had to cut Jackson. I think they could have done something, but I do think that that idea is stupid. I don't like the idea of the drink thing. Like some of this, the face painting and stuff, kind of building on the relationships, and even the Ollie thing, kind of explaining how you got him. I like that idea. I don't like the drink thing. I don't like this thing. I just think it's stupid ideas. But I do think they could have definitely kept Jackson. A kid said fuck you. Oh shit, what? Okay. Yeah, that's stupid. So where's the last one then? Oh, it's over there. I'm assuming I have to go in to end it. I have to go in the building, I assume. But I do think that this kind of shows some more of Jackson that you never get to see. I'm assuming that nothing happens here. I think that is one of the one of the things that some people kind of complaining about is that you don't see that much of Jackson in the game. You see more in the show, to be honest. Right, so what's this one?
There's a hidden spot at the back that was just a bit of fun. It was highlighting Jackson's normalcy with something we would find in a real world. In the back, you would find teenagers finding some alone time with each other. In a dark
Teenagers?
corner of a
What a
party.
grown-ass man.
It was rewarding the player for peeking into a hidden corner, but ultimately redirecting them back to the festival. We also had versions of them smoking weed here, despite Maria's consternation, probably having gotten it from Eugene.
We've still got a lot to learn about Eugene in that show as well, because he don't really play much of a part in this, but I think he's going to play quite a big part in the show. Yeah, so this is like a church. I don't really recognise any other parts of Jackson. No. Where did he come from? He wasn't there a minute ago. I just went down there. The hell? I think that's it for that. Yeah, that was that. That was quite short. I don't know if they're all that short, but let's just let's see this one.
In this second deleted level, which is an extended sequence of the sewers in Seattle, This comes on the heels of where Ellie goes into a building and she survives an attack by stalkers and gets thrown out of the window and gets swept away by the current. And then we cut this section that used to be there in the final game. Now you will get to play it. So this was a way to get a bit more interesting puzzles, interesting traversal, figure out how Ellie can navigate the sewers with the fighting current. Ultimately, with a lot of these levels and these sequences, the reason why we cut them were for pacing purposes. But here it is for you in this very kind of raw form that part of it will feel finished, parts of it will feel like assets are missing as far as audio, animation won't be final, but it's a glimpse into what a game looks like when it's months away from finishing. Enjoy.
I mean, honestly, start here then.
Get off of me!
So this bit was in the game. Was it? I'm trying to think what actually happened. What I was going to say is that
Okay.
it's interesting because he said that this is what a game looks like months before it's finished, right? You know, in that last lost level, that to me, there was a lot there that was unfinished. They had no animations, they had no dialogue. I'm surprised that that's only months before. I would have thought maybe like a year. I don't know. So they must do all the animations and stuff like that. Very last minute then. Which is interesting. I suppose they spend the majority of time on the story and the game design and things like that. I'm trying to think what actually happened in the actual
The ladder
game.
acts as an immediate goal for the player, but being able to climb out is not going to be so easy. To keep levels interesting and engaging, we alternate between positive and negative values the player experiences. Here, it's a positive to have found a ladder, but then a negative to discover it's not the solution. But then another positive to identify the next short-term goal of the doorway. By alternating between these opposing values, we
That's
give
supposed to be
players what they
moving.
expect, but not how they expect it.
Fucking kidding
Okay.
me.
Well, you're right. That did give. I was expecting to go up there. How did I get to the sewer? I got attacked. I got attacked by some stalkers. I just can't remember what, because that happened in the real game. So I can't remember what's different. I guess I got swim. It's also interesting that they cut this. He said for pacing reasons, right? Now, if I recall, this section of the game is super fast-paced. All with like you just come off that bit with the stalkers, very high pace, and then you immediately come out of the sewer to get hit with the Seraphites, super high intensity, high pace, and then straight after that you're at the hospital. So there's no break. I think this would have given a good break.
This level, internally known as Find Nora, was quite long in duration as we had to make Ellie traverse a far distance to the opposite side of downtown Seattle. The sewer section was originally longer than what we released the game with, approximately 10 minutes more. This was one of the few areas of the game that used water flow as part of a traversal puzzle. The player has to go upstream to use the current to get to the platform to reach the other side. We mostly cut this mechanic game wide, however it remained in essence in the section swimming to the aquarium as Ellie when you were avoiding the waves.
Yeah, but not really.
When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they are faced with a dead end. The real reason for this dead end room is that on a reversal when exiting back out of the doorway, players are faced with the route onwards. A a pipe that they'd not been able to see when they were swept past it on the way in, and something that was hidden from view when on the side platforms. The intention here being that the only option is to go off the standard path in order to search for a way out.
Yeah, I mean, it's good kind of to explain the game design. Like, yeah, you wouldn't have looked to the right, you wouldn't see that. So far, I think they should have kept this in, to be honest. I mean, it's probably easy to say in hindsight, and why could I not? I don't know why I care, but that's still there, that cloth, ever so slightly.
Get me the hell out of here.
Even though apparently I picked it up.
Throughout the rest of the level, we also used light to indicate to the player that they were heading in the right direction. At each turn, however, we blocked the direct route forward. Players would know that they just have to keep finding alternative paths, promoting those feelings of being desperate and trapped.
Guns do I have?
We slowly introduced the player to consider climbing into smaller pipes and crouching in these tight spaces.
Up and out.
This is to slowly build up to
keep going up
and
and out.
encourage the player to climb into such a small pipe that they'd have to be crawling on their stomach, which is something that the player previously may not have recognised as a playable space, let alone the desired route they
down
need to
there?
take.
What's down there?
We added a tiny space just to reward the player's exploration with a pickup item, and we made sure it was something that made sense that you'd find in this area. A canister and all the garbage that had been washed into the sewers from the surface.
Huh? Gotta give me a trading card. I mean, I think that would be applicable in a space like this as well. See, I'm doing exactly what they designed. That's the thing, is they designed it in this way, and I'm doing exactly, even before I listened to the thing. I'm doing exactly what they wanted me to do. I wanted to go down there before I even heard him say it. So I'm playing into their hands.
We loved the idea of making Ellie prone through a tiny dirty pipe in order to get out, as it was a great opportunity to use our prone mechanic.
Shit, Ellie.
The unique camera setup was created to support crawling in these pipes, as the standard prone camera is much higher above the player. We also created custom collision in order for Ellie to manoeuvre in these tight spaces easily. Initially, the oblong collision capsule around her character caused issues crawling around corners. We put extra effort into the custom corner collision, so the movement experience is as smooth as the main game. In order for the player to feel cramped, claustrophobic and desperate, we'd been enforcing the traversal mechanics that allow for a tight environment which promote these feelings. We introduced the use of the squeeze through so that we can keep the player feeling enclosed and tight, but without repeating the same geometry. Here we change from low ceilings with wider walls to high ceilings and tight walls to change up the spatial pacing and keep the level from repeating itself.
See, that's smart. That's smart. Just changing the height of the ceilings and the width of the walls, and so you don't think of things like that. I don't think of things like that as a player. Like, that's what they're doing. Like, sure, like that bit where the pipe is opposite the door and stuff. Yeah, that's obvious, but never would have understood that, and they're giving that claustrophobic feeling.
Originally, we had the waterline much higher here, so players had to swim through this tight tunnel. However, from watching user test feedback, it was occasionally causing people to discount the route entirely and turn back on themselves. So to avoid any risk of this happening in the final game, we present a lower water level so the tunnel is easy to see and commit to using. Although this isn't as impactful without the prone swim, it's the better decision as it means a smoother experience for the player with no backtracking frustration.
Even things like that. Understanding player behaviour, and maybe players are not doing what you actually want them to do, so then you got to change things up.
Come on.
We draw the player towards this pipe as it's seemingly the route out of the tight space. Fairly soon it's obvious that this path is blocked. If the player goes all the way up to the bars that block the path, they
This
are
is
rewarded
interesting.
with pickup, so this journey doesn't feel
Yeah,
wasted.
some people might not.
It was important to
find this
encourage the player
boring,
to
but-
try to progress along this path so that they would subtly be thinking of progress in this direction. We hint to the player that there is a bigger, new space beyond this pipe by showing the player the waterfall. This helps players consider the other route where they don't know how far the tunnel is or whether they'd make it.
I'll make it. Don't
As
worry
we
about
surface from the water and over the crest of the slope, we reveal what is further in this tunnel. A clicker that has sprouted and the fungus has grown on the sides of the pipe. It was great to see people who user tested this area becoming increasingly worried as we forced the player to squeeze past the fungus and inches
It's
away
spoiling
from the
for me.
kicker's face. all the time not being sure whether the clicker might be alive or attack them.
Well, let me
Although
wait
we
for it
aren't
to
as
finish.
cruel as to force a clicker attack in such close proximity, we do have a payoff for this moment. This clicker momentarily turned into Joel to show Ellie's PTSD from what happened to Joel at the start of the game. Ultimately, we decided to save this moment for the farm level, as it was more impactful there because it could become the centrepiece of that experience.
You could have
Whereas
had
in
it
the
at both.
sewers, we weren't able to make it as much of a narrative point and give it the breathing room and reaction time that it deserves,
Yeah,
given the
but
tight space.
You could have done something. You could have. I don't know. I think there's no harm in. I mean, it's spoiled what's going to happen now. I don't think that's bad at all. Because it intrigues you. It's like, oh, that's like the first sign of PTSD. And then if anything, that adds a little bit more to the farm bit, because it's not the first time it's happened. I don't know. I don't think they should have cut this. What's that? I don't want to do that.
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spaces leading up to this. So changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration
Yeah.
used the current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed, but instead they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water.
This is the bit that is actually in the finished game, right? This bit here. So it's still here. They just added that extra section, which, what, 5-10 minutes? I know I was going through it slow as well. I think, and honestly, this is pretty much finished as well. There's no issues, there's no bugs or anything. They could have added this in. I mean, it's good that we get to play it in kind of like this, but I personally think this one, I think the Jackson one, they could have kept it in the game but just changed some things, because I think, yeah, there was some pacing issues with that, but it was good to see more of Jackson, you know, give a little bit more backstory to more characters, Kat and Ollie and things like that. This 100% should have kept it in. Again, it's hard to say because I'm playing it in hindsight. I'm playing it after I've finished the game. Maybe if this came up at that point, maybe I'd think differently, but I don't think so.
Using this pipe was retained in the iteration we shipped with, as it's the last of the extreme methods Ellie has to undergo in order to escape the sewers, and what she will go through in her pursuit
This
of
was a
revenge.
very short section in the real game, in the main game. It was literally just this. I think you fell into the water, got thrown into this room, and then had to climb over this pipe to leave. Super short section. I don't think it ruins the pacing at all. Unless maybe they wanted, like I was saying, that feeling of, because that's how I felt at this section, that kind of non-stop. It's like you out of the frying pan into the fire, like you're going straight from the stalkers to the seraphites to the wolves at the hospital. There's no break, and maybe this would have acted a bit of a little bit like a break, and maybe that's not what they wanted.
The last ladder climb is quite lengthy, and although we could have trimmed it down to a shorter climb, we liked how this last segment of the journey built anticipation for whether there was success at the top
Yeah, but
or
you
not
can go
after all
quicker,
you've been through.
So it's not that long.
Ultimately, the ladder exits out into the subway station, which is how it connects in the final game. Ellie then has to find her way to the hospital from here, crossing paths with the Scars for the first time.
Oh, he said scars and not seraphites. Is that it, or is there any more? Is this the rest of it? Is yeah. Then it just. I don't think they should have cut that. I think that was good. I enjoyed that. So what's this one then? So that's the only one that doesn't have spoken dialogue. I think the others do. So this one is probably similar to the sewer one, where it's probably a little bit more finished then.
For this third and final deleted level, what we call the boar hunt sequence. This was a sequence pretty late in the game. It was right after the whole Seattle Abby sequence where Abby spares Ellie. And then we wanted to come back into Ellie's story, but keep it a bit mysterious of how much time has passed, where is Ellie now?
So this would be
we're
the
coming in on Ellie,
opening
and she's following a trail of blood.
scene of
and
the
we
farm.
wanted to mirror, in a way, the deer hunt sequence from the first game, but this time do it with a boar. And there's something with Ellie that now she can't let go of this violence. She's pursuing it, even against this innocent animal. This was another opportunity to show how the violence that Ellie has experienced, the violence that she witnessed being afflicted onto Joel, is still sticking with her, and she's still experiencing these PTSD moments. This was a sequence that was pretty far along and was cut pretty late in production. Parts of it are still really rough, but the gameplay, the building blocks were all there. I think you'll have fun to see, like, again, a rough, unfinished sequence that you can play. You can see all the way to the end, and including a cinematic that we end up cutting. And the remnants of the sequence ended up being mentioned in Ellie's journal. So this part of the story that we developed still made its way into the game as kind of optional stuff that you could read about, but here you get to experience it. So as a reminder, this is pretty rough, months away from being finished, but you get to see it now.
I wonder how much time and money they put into these levels that ultimately nothing ever really became of. So this would have literally been, it would have, as far as I'm aware, it would have gone straight from the, like, Abby sparing Ellie and Dina at the theatre straight to this, instead of what we actually got, which was the kind of starting in the farmhouse as a little happy family. I don't know if this would have replaced that or come before that, I assume.
So the boar hunt was one of the hardest levels for me to work on. It was a huge challenge with the systems that we had, and we kept trying, but it never felt quite right. Originally, the level happened after the Jackson Festival, which also got cut, but before Farm. Once the festival got cut, it became the prologue to Farm. The intended experience is that we jump forward in time after the fight with Abby in the theater. We don't know where Dina is. We likely assume she's dead because she was just bleeding out. Ellie is alone. Her hair is short. So maybe this is the future or the present. And she's hunting. Hunting who? Abby still?
Well, I don't think first. I think you. I mean, I don't want to think it, but I think you would assume that she's hunting an animal. I also don't think many people would assume that Dina's dead. I don't think so. I wouldn't assume that Dina's dead because obviously Abby kind of didn't finish her off. And yeah, she was badly injured.
In early iterations of the fight, it was more arena-like. The player slowly whittles down the boar's health. Ellie gets more visceral and more vicious. We get a little worried about her. As the boar gets weaker, more panicked, more feral, and we start feeling sympathetic to the boar was the hope. In all of these iterations, especially of these wider areas, it required custom AI and scripting to make sure it continued to feel organic as an animal, but we really needed it to do specific stuff. It needed to be able to close distances really, really quickly. It needed to charge to attack, but we wanted the feeling of hunting, so we needed to track it down from afar. And we also needed to discourage the player from attacking the boar when it's that close, or it would kind of turn into this melee kerfuffle. How do we do this in our world while keeping the boar believable?
I've not even seen the boar yet.
We must have gone through 5 or 6 iterations of the boar fight and all, and every single time it changed pretty drastically. We split it into clear phases, where one was like all long range. We tried another where you're getting close and you get to jump on it quite literally. You're jumping off of a rock to attack it. And then finally, we tried a bunch where you almost sort of go around a bunch of trailers and try and wrestle it. We uncovered after some time that taking down a boar over several phases felt very laborious and a little dramatic. It was comically long. It felt too boss-like, a little too gamey. We decided to cut the first few phases, and we opted for a cold open after the boar had already been hurt off screen. So that allowed us to focus on feeling like we're closing in on prey and to introduce the boar when it was at its most dangerous. Already hurt, already feral, much too close for comfort. And so the thinking was it would bring us more into Ellie's mindset. Is this really hunting for food, or is she hunting for some other reason?
I like it. I like how it reflects the hunting sequence.
The gas
in the first
station
game.
was built to highlight the boar's destructiveness. Since it's cramped, the boar feels larger. We also feel trapped with it, though perhaps it's trapped with us. When it charges, it gets to us quickly, so we must be on our toes. This made it more aligned with Ellie's sort of hunting for trouble mindset. Listening became more important, as well as moving around slowly so it didn't hear you. Could you spot it before it saw or heard you? And could you get a shot off quickly enough so you could dodge out of the way? Or is the shot worth the cost after? It feels like a gamble. By the end of the fight, everything would likely be in shambles, the boar would burst through the back, and Ellie would follow it and finally enact revenge.
I just think it's a shame that stuff like this gets cut, because this is good stuff. It's good stuff. Like if I wanted to make this, it would just take so much away.
It's over.
You're dead.
Nowhere to run.
Huh? Where did it go? I thought it was right there. But do you know what I mean? Like even this here, this could be. Do you know what they could do? They could literally make another game out of this. You could just change Ellie to a different character, because this could be the opening to a different game, and it would be good. Where did it go? She said it runs out the back. Which back? Where? Where's the back? This? Where? Huh? The only thing that kind of doesn't look great is the bow animations. That's it. I'm a bit confused. There's two doors, both locked. I don't even know where the ball went. It was literally here, and then it disappeared. It's not broken, is it? Is it? Or I broke it? There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. Let me restart checkpoint. Ah, it was broken. Yeah, okay. It's not a finished product, so we can't judge it. And then the last dialogue.
The boar kill was supposed to be anything but glorious. With the boar whimpering at the back of the gas station after Ellie's relentless hunt. After this, hearing the drone that we kinda come to associate with Ellie's trauma, we would hard cut to the stream where she's washing her hands and holding rabbits that she hunted, about to return to Dina. And there would be no mention of the boar.
I want to read it back now, because she mentions the boar in her diary. I want to read exactly what she says. Is that it? That's it. I don't know, I liked it. It amazes me that something that good could be cut from a game. Like, for pacing or whatever, I don't know. But for me, it's just like, it's a shame to not have that stuff in there. But that's it for the Lost Levels. That was actually shorter than I thought it would be. 40 minutes or something. It's not long at all. But yeah, I'm glad I got to see them. I liked them all. The last two especially I liked. The first one I liked the setting, and I liked some of the stuff in there, but not all of it. Obviously that was the most unfinished out of the three, but that sewer one especially, I don't think they should have cut that. But who am I to say? I don't know anything about game design or anything. But yeah, that's it for The Last of Us 2. The only other thing I've not really covered is No Return. I've been doing that in my own time. I've just got all the challenges and stuff for that as well, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I've just got all these. So even that, there's not much left to do for that. But yeah, that's probably going to be it for The Last of Us 2. I don't think I'm going to revisit this because I've pretty much looked at everything there is to see. There's other things, there's commentary and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm glad I got to play it. I'm glad I got to stream it. I'm glad I got to kind of, I suppose, document this this journey. And yeah, that'll be it. I might jump on some other things. Like I said, I could go back and play the original game, or there's plenty of other things that I would like to play as well. So just let me know if you're interested, or what you're interested in seeing, what you would like to see. But yeah, I'll leave it there, and I'll see you next time.